All right, in this final lesson, we're breaking down 10 qualities that make someone enjoyable to build a life with. But before we dive in, I want to offer you a gentle challenge. As you read through each one, don't just think about the guys you're vetting, think about you too. Do you give what you're hoping to receive? This list isn't just a checklist for someone else to meet, it's a mirror. It's a chance to grow into the kind of partner you want to attract. Now, none of us are perfect, but the more of these traits you can embody, the more clearly you'll be able to recognize someone who matches that energy. Let's get into it. Number one trait, kindness that lasts. What to look for? He is consistently warm, he's patient, and he's thoughtful, not just when he wants something. He's going to value your feelings and speak to you with care, even when he's frustrated or disappointed. He's going to be kind to everyone, not just people he benefits from. So pay attention to how he treats the wait staff, cashiers, strangers, even family members. See if he uses sarcasm to belittle, if he mocks your feelings, or makes jokes at your expense. A man who's only kind to you, for the time being, may not actually be kind at heart. Some men act kind just to win you over, but lack true compassion when it counts. So, why does this trait make a guy great to live with? You're going to feel emotionally safe. You're not going to have to tiptoe around his moods or wonder if he meant to hurt you. You're going to feel relaxed, not reactive. A truly kind man makes the hard days easier and the good days lighter. His kindness becomes the emotional foundation of your home, one that can hold your softness, your flaws, and your growth. Now, let's get into the red flags to watch out for. If he only treats you well when he's getting what he wants, if he's rude, dismissive, or impatient with others, he uses humor to disguise cruelty or criticism. He shows kindness in public, but he is cold in private. He gets irritated by your needs or your imperfections. Kindness isn't about just being nice, it's about being emotionally safe, even when it's inconvenient. And a man's true character is revealed in how he treats people who can't give him anything. So ask yourself, would you feel safe being your full self in front of him on a hard day? Number two, emotional honesty and accountability. What to look for. He's going to tell the truth fully and not selectively. He's going to say what he means and means what he says. He doesn't dodge questions. He doesn't give you half answers that leave you confused. He is transparent about how he feels and what he wants and where he stands. When you bring up a concern, he doesn't get defensive. He doesn't twist your words. He doesn't flip the blame onto you. He owns his mistakes. He apologizes sincerely, and he doesn't keep making the same promises without change. Real honesty isn't about avoiding lies. It's about being emotionally clear, even when it's uncomfortable. Now, why this makes a man a great partner to live with? You won't feel crazy. You won't have to play detective. You won't have to decode mixed signals or wonder if you're being too sensitive. Emotional honesty creates clarity, and clarity builds trust. A man who takes accountability will help the relationship feel safe, not slippery. When he messes up, you'll feel like you can talk about it and move forward instead of spinning in confusion or mistrust. All right, so let's talk about some red flags to watch out for. He's going to avoid answering direct questions, or he's going to change the subject. His words and his actions will not align. He's going to tell small lies and then justify them as no big deal. He's going to blame others instead of taking ownership. You're often going to feel confused or unsure after you talk to him. Honesty builds trust, emotional safety, and long term stability. Without it, you're going to feel unsure about where you stand. A man's honesty isn't just about what he says, it's about how consistent and reliable and accountable he is in your relationship. So ask yourself, would you rather hear a hard truth or a comfortable lie? Number three, true friendship. Another trait that makes a great partner. So, what to look for? You genuinely like each other. You don't just feel attraction, you feel ease, comfort. You can laugh and be silly and talk about anything and be fully yourself without feeling judged or misunderstood. He's going to show interest in your world. He's going to listen to your stories, even the long ones, and he's going to remember the little things that matter to you. You will support each other through wins and losses, and the relationship won't feel transactional. It's going to feel like home. You see, romance ebbs and flows, but relationship is what holds you together. Friendship is what holds you together when the butterflies settle. So, why is this a trait that makes a guy a great partner? Well, you'll actually enjoy life together. You'll have fun in the little things, grocery runs, inside jokes, lazy Sundays. Conflicts won't feel so heavy because your bond isn't built on pressure or performance. There's room for laughter and play and real connection. And a strong friendship helps you weather the storms with grace because you know you're on the same team even when you disagree. All right, so let's look at some red flags to watch out for. You're going to feel like you're performing or trying to prove something around him. Your conversations are going to feel surface level. They're just going to be about logistics or sexual. He's going to show very little interest in your life passions or your day to day tasks. And you're not going to feel emotionally safe being vulnerable or being goofy. The relationship is going to feel more like a power struggle than a partnership. Friendship isn't a bonus, it should be the foundation. So ask yourself, when the spark dims, and it will at times, will you still like each other enough to stay connected? All right, on to number 4. Loves you in your love language. What to look for. This guy doesn't just love you the way he feels love, he learns how you receive it. Whether it is words of affirmation, acts of service, quality time, physical touch, or thoughtful gifts, he pays attention. He's not just affectionate when he wants sex. He makes you feel emotionally and physically safe enough to open up. He listens when you express a need or a boundary. And in intimacy, he is generous, not just physically, but emotionally too. You're going to feel desired and not pressured. You'll feel safe and not like you're forced to be silent. It's not about perfection, it's about intention. Is he trying to love you in the way that lands? So, why does this trait make a guy great to live with? You're going to feel seen and fed, not starved and frustrated. He's not going to constantly leaving you guessing or begging for connection. Instead of feeling alone in a relationship, you'll actually feel met. And when a man learns how to love you well, your guard drops. Your body relaxes, and the relationship feels less like effort and more like alignment. Loving each other becomes this rhythm and not a reward. All right, here are some red flags to look out for. Does a guy dismiss your love language or mock it? Does he make you feel needy for having emotional or physical needs? Is he only affectionate when he wants sex? Do you feel ashamed or uncomfortable bringing up your needs in intimacy? Well, love that's not expressed in your language can feel like rejection, even if it's not meant to. So pay attention to how safe you feel asking for what you need and how open he is in learning how to give it. All right, number 5, takes initiative. Woo! What to look for. This guy doesn't wait for you to manage the relationship. He notices things and he takes action. If you're overwhelmed, he offers to help. If something needs fixing, he jumps in. He makes plans. He checks in. He doesn't need constant prompting to show he cares. He pays attention to your needs and his preferences, and he follows through without being micromanaged. He wants to be a contributor, not just a consumer in your life. Initiative is about effort, not perfection. Keep that in mind. He doesn't have to get it right every time, but he should be trying without being asked every time. So, why does this make someone great to live with? Well, you won't feel like his mother, his manager, or his motivational speaker. You won't have to carry the mental load and the emotional load of the relationship alone. When a man takes initiative, you're going to feel supported. You won't feel burdened. So, what does that mean? You can rest in your feminine energy because he's showing up with presence. He's not passive. When life gets hard, you feel like you actually have a partner, not a project that you took on. All right, let's unpack some red flags. If a guy waits for you to initiate everything, conversations, plans, even affection, He says, well, just tell me what to do instead of learning how to read the room. He's going to avoid responsibility or drag his feet on important tasks. He's going to make you feel like you're going to feel like you're constantly reminding him of things that really matter to you. He's going to leave all the emotional labor entirely on your shoulders. Initiative shows you where a man's energy naturally flows. So think about this. A man who wants to build with you doesn't need to be dragged. He leads with care. All right, on to number 6, and this one is a biggie. Fights fair. Doesn't matter how great you get along, it's how you disagree. So, what should you look for? Green flags. When there is conflict, he stays present. He's not over there shutting down or exploding or giving you the silent treatment to punish you. He listens to understand, not just to make his point. He's not just waiting for his turn to talk, he's actually trying to hear you. He doesn't twist your words, he doesn't deflect, he doesn't try to minimize your feelings. He's not going to be yelling or throwing things or getting cruel when he's upset, hitting below the belt. He takes responsibility when he's wrong, and he doesn't hold grudges or bring up the past to try to win in the present. Most importantly, he doesn't weaponize conflict by threatening the relationship every time something gets hard. That is excruciating. If you've ever dated a guy who, whenever you get into a fight, he hints at or overtly says he's going to leave. Everyone has conflict. The question is, how does he treat you when things aren't going his way? So, kind of a recap here. Why would he make a good partner? Why does this trait make someone great to live with? Well, disagreements won't feel like emotional landmines. You're not going to have to tiptoe around issues or fear that every fight could be the one that ends the relationship. With a man who fights fair, you can feel emotionally safe even when there's tension. Conflict becomes a way to understand each other better, not to tear each other down. Your home will stay calm, it won't be chaotic. And he won't withdraw his love or threaten to leave when you're upset. He's in it with you for the long haul. All right, so a couple of red flags to watch out for. He shuts down. If a guy stonewalls you, if he avoids resolution, run. If he only listens to respond, not to understand, run. If he yells, if he mocks you, if he interrupts, my personal favorite, or if he gets cruel in conflict, that's that below the belt we were talking about, run. If he's constantly flipping blame or he never takes responsibility, run. If he's always threatening to break up or leave or take space just to try to gain power, run. Conflict doesn't ruin healthy relationships. It's avoidance and disrespect and emotional punishment that do. So think about this. A man who can stay calm and kind during conflict is a man you can feel safe building a life with. All right, number 7, makes changes after feedback. Oh, we love a man who takes feedback and makes changes. So, what should you look for? Green flags. You bring something up calmly and clearly, and he doesn't get defensive. He's not dismissive, and he doesn't spin it back on you. Instead, he hears you, he reflects, and most importantly, he adjusts. You see the effort, not just empty apologies. He doesn't make you bring up the same thing 5 times just to be heard. He doesn't get stuck in pride or shame because he values growth over ego. His goal is not to just avoid conflict. He wants to actually be a better partner. So a man's willingness to grow is more important than whether he gets it right the first time. So let's talk about why it makes him so great to live with, why he'd be a fabulous partner. You won't feel like a broken record or a nag. You won't start holding things in just to keep the peace. Instead, you're going to feel like your voice matters and that your needs are safe in his hands. A man who receives feedback with maturity creates a home where communication feels productive and not exhausting. Over time, the relationship is just going to keep getting stronger. It's not going to feel stuck. All right, but here are some red flags to look for. If this is not the guy, he's going to get defensive or angry when you express a need. He's never going to apologize, or rather, he might apologize, but he never follows through with real change. He's going to make you feel guilty for bringing things up, and he's going to shut down or avoid hard conversations entirely. You'll end up just keep adjusting your standards just to try to keep the peace. So growth-minded men aren't perfect, but they're safe to evolve with. And if you can't bring up the hard stuff, the relationship won't be able to grow with you. All right, number 8, Oh, we love an emotionally considerate man. So, what are the green flags? He's not self centered. He notices how things affect you and not just himself. He doesn't expect everything to be convenient or comfortable or done his way. He is willing to be inconvenienced. He adjusts his schedule. He sacrifices sometimes and shows up even when it's not ideal for him because he sees your needs as real, not you being dramatic or excessive or annoying. He also doesn't weaponize gender roles to avoid caring or helping. He's thoughtful in how he moves through life with you, and he responds with presence, not passive resistance. A man who truly considers you doesn't need to agree with your feelings to just care about them. So, why is he a great guy to live with? Well, you won't feel invisible. You won't feel dismissed. You won't feel like your needs are always too much. Instead, you will feel supported. He's not self centered. He notices how things affect you, not just himself. He doesn't expect everything to be exactly what he wants. You're going to have a teammate who adjusts and adapts, not a partner who always just chooses what's easiest for him. He'll actually offer help before you ask. He's going to check in with you before making big plans. Life will feel more shared, it won't feel lopsided. And that's what makes day to day partnership peaceful instead of draining. But there are red flags to look for if he doesn't have this stuff. He's going to be complaining a lot when something's outside of his comfort. He'll act like helping you or showing up emotionally is a burden. He's only going to offer support when it helps him. And he's going to dismiss your emotional experiences as too sensitive or not that deep. He's going to cling to gender roles to avoid shared responsibilities. I can't wash the dishes. That's a woman's job. Selfish men take the easy road, but considerate men take the shared one. So think about this. If he's not willing to be uncomfortable for your well being, he's not ready for a real partnership. All right, so I've got a bonus one here. This is kind of like a 8B, emotional regulation. My God, this is important. All right, so look for these green flags. This guy doesn't take a stress out on you. He knows how to manage his emotions without snapping or stonewalling or just creating chaos. His moods are fairly steady and he's not unpredictable or extreme. He can disagree without exploding. He can bounce back after conflict without punishing you emotionally. Emotional regulation is the glue that holds maturity and kindness and communication together. So, why is he fabulous to live with? You won't feel like you have to walk on eggshells or constantly monitor his mood. You can relax because even when life gets stressful, he stays grounded. And a man who regulates himself makes the relationship feel safe, not stormy. He protects your peace by managing his own. Now, red flags if a guy is not emotionally regulated. Ready? He's going to snap when he's overwhelmed or stressed. His moods are going to change suddenly. He's going to be unpredictable. He's going to punish you with the silent treatment, or he's going to grow distant after you have conflict. He's going to expect you to fix or soothe his emotional state. You're going to feel anxious even in bringing up small things. So, avoid that guy at all costs. All right. Number 9, a guy who respects your boundary and freedom. Yes. What are the green flags to look for? He honors your emotional, physical, and mental boundaries and doesn't guilt trip you for needing space or time alone. He isn't controlling or pressuring you. He doesn't try to control what you wear, who you spend time with, or what you choose to share. He gives you the freedom to explore friendships and interests outside of the relationship. And he never uses physical pressure to make you stay or comply or feel afraid. So you might think, oh, he's not hitting me or doing things like that, but he shouldn't even be grabbing you. Like never grabbing your wrist. Don't block the doorway when you're trying to get out or hovering to intimidate you. If you say no to something and he doesn't try to push, if you try to say no to something, he's not going to try to push past it. He's going to listen and respect it. A man who respects your freedom is showing you he doesn't need to overpower you to feel secure. So, why is this guy a delight to live with? You're going to feel like your body and your voice and your independence are safe. You won't feel trapped or smothered or feel like you have to shrink just to keep the peace. You're going to breathe easier knowing you're with someone who sees you as a partner and not a possession. When your boundaries are respected, love deepens without fear. You're going to grow with him and not around him. Oh, but let's look at the red flags, okay? If this guy does not have these qualities, he's going to get irritated when boundaries are set or you ask for space. He's going to do things like grab your wrist, block a doorway, use his body to control the situation. Maybe, you know, keep the door from opening. You want to look out for that. He's going to pressure you to change your mind when you've clearly said no. He will want constant access to your time, your attention, or your body. He's going to question or mock your friendships, your goals, or your independence. He's not going to support your life choices. Love should not cost your safety or your freedom. So please pay attention to how he responds when you say no. That's where real respect shows up. Last up, we have number 10, attentive and present. This is an awesome trait to look for. Here are the green flags. He pays attention, not just to what you say, but how you say it. He notices your tone and your moods and your needs. He listens without being glued to his phone. He actually looks at you when you speak and remembers small details because he's genuinely tuned in. He's not just going through the motions. His attention is not going to feel transactional or he's not always distracted. He's engaged with intention, not out of obligation. Presence isn't just being around you, it's about being connected to you. So, why does this make him a delight to live with? You're not going to feel like you're talking to a wall. You won't feel ignored or invisible or like you have to fight to be heard. When a man is attentive and present, you're going to feel emotionally held. Even during busy or stressful seasons, you'll know he sees you. And that kind of presence creates intimacy. It softens tension and it turns ordinary moments into connection points. Here are the big, giant red flags to watch out for. He's always on his phone, even during quality time. He forgets the things that you've shared repeatedly. He tunes out when you talk about things that matter to you. He shows up physically, but emotionally he feels absent. He only seems engaged when he wants something. Attention is the purest forms of love. If he's not present with you now, don't expect more once the chase is over. Now, that brings us to the end, not just of this lesson, but of the entire course. Congratulations. You've completed it. And I want to leave you with this. These 10 traits are not about building a fantasy checklist. They're about building a life, a real, grounded, emotionally safe life. You deserve someone who is kind and honest, consistent, emotionally steady, but you also have the power to become that kind of partner too, because the energy you carry is what you will eventually attract or tolerate. So take this work with you, revisit it, sit with the parts that stretched you, celebrate the parts you're already living. And when you find yourself slipping into old patterns, chasing potential, minimizing your needs, or settling from uncertainty, come back to this truth. Peace is the prize. Partnership should feel good, and your softness is worth protecting. Thank you for walking this journey with me. I am so proud of how far you've come. This may be the final lesson, but it's just the beginning of how you show up for love.